Now we're going to take a look at an old Mexican tradition that's getting a new life in this country. The escaramuza is an all-female synchronized team equestrian competition. Look at that. It's become more popular in the U.S. thanks to young women embracing their ancestors' customs, including a woman who had an awakening, she says, when she visited her grandparents in Mexico. Lilia Luciano shows us how she became the American queen of the Mexican rodeo.
On a rural ranch outside Seattle, 21-year-old Paola Pimienta and her family put in long hours on horses, practicing a sport that goes back centuries and that has been in her family for generations.
How many saddles are there?
I haven't even counted them myself.
Before there were cowboys and their rodeos, there were Mexican charros and their charreria.
And what's actually really interesting is that the American cowboy originated from the charro.
The American cowboy originated from the charro.
Yep.
What?
Charreria is Mexico's national sport. Only men competed until women joined in about 70 years ago. Now the women ride in their own event, in teams of 8, performing choreographed tricks with their horses. They're called escaramuzas, and they still ride side saddle.
And with a male saddle, you sit normally with both of your legs down.
The arena where they perform is called the lienzo, which also means canvas in Spanish. And that makes sense when you see the escaramuzas galloping in. It's a sight that mesmerized Paola as a young girl of Mexican descent who was born and raised in Washington State. Seeing them in action changed everything she felt about her heritage.
When I was younger, I felt like I was trying to assimilate into American culture. But at the same time, I felt like it wasn't my place. I didn't have a lot of friends. I started getting fearful of speaking Spanish. My parents would come with me to different places, and I was almost even kind of embarrassed of being Mexican in a sense.
Until she started spending her summers in Mexico visiting her dad's family. There, everyone from her grandparents to her young cousins practiced the sport.
I would see them and I would be like, wow, I wish I could do that back home. Because if I want to do that, I have to come to Mexico. But what really drove me was when I had a cousin of mine tell me, you're never going to be an escaramuza because you're gringa.
The sport was only introduced competitively in the U.S. in 1991. So for Paola, there were few teams to perform with.
And for me, it was kind of that moment that it clicked. Like, I have all odds stacked against me.
Charreria was a tradition Paola's father, Juan Mario, left behind when he was a young man and crossed the border to work and eventually start a family in the U.S.
What was it like for you when Paola said she wanted to continue the family's tradition here?
I was really happy inside that she wanted to follow their dreams, and I was really happy that she chose the charreria.
So happy, he bought then 11-year-old Paola her own horse, Barbie, and found her a team to compete with in Buckley, Washington, just about 2,400 miles away from Mexico. For the next decade, Paola and Barbie would train almost daily at the family's ranch and travel throughout the U.S. and Mexico, competing and winning.
When we practice, we wake up sometimes at 4 in the morning. You'll have boot camp sessions, so you'll do 3 days of riding 2 to 3 times a day. Your objective is perfection and to win, and that takes so much work and so much sacrifice.
The sport takes endurance, discipline, and deep pockets. The rules are strict, especially when it comes to the team's attire.
We actually have to ride in earrings that are handmade. So they have to be artisan made in Mexico.
Oh my God, the rules are unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's so many rules.
Yeah.
From the silver threads to the sombrero to the patriotic embroidery, all tells a story about Mexico's history and heritage. Last month, Paola triumphantly returned to Mexico representing the U.S. as the American National Escaramuza Ambassador, a 4-year title she won for her riding skills.
What would you tell little girls who are growing up in the States with Hispanic heritage?
We are such a beautiful community. To be able to speak 2 languages and to be able to carry that with us. We go back home and everyone's so proud to be Mexican. To bring that here and have that diminish, it could burn out forever. It's a little fire that could burn out forever.
Paola has fueled that fire, inspiring the next generation of escaramuzas to chase their dreams.
I just get chills because I know the struggle that it's taken for me and my family to get to that point. It's the best feeling in the world.
For CBS Mornings, Lilia Luciano, Buckley, Washington.
Wow, bravo, Paola.
Yeah.
People always say, I always learn something when I watch this show. I think that's a great example of that. I had no idea.
It's a beautiful
Any
piece.
of
I think a lot of parents right now are getting questions from kids at home. Can I have a pony for Christmas?
Thank you,
Maybe.
Lilia.